I'll be creating an applique using lettering from Wilcom. I'm going to select Script 8 to create the family name. This will become an applique, but this is how you begin. I'm using a 14 by 11 inch hoop. So I'm going to leave my width right now of the lettering about 250. I don't want to go all the way to the edge because I'm going to be adding some layers that will be the applique portion. I know that I want this taller, but not necessarily wider. So I'll stretch this, and the height now, and that's with the drop down of the G, is about 76 millimeters. I wonder if we can go 100. And we're locked. I'm going to unlock. So if we take the height to 100, that might be overkill. Let's do 80. Okay, and I'm kind of looking ahead to the appearance. Now, this lettering I want to combine and make it a tatami stitch. And with it all selected, this is what I'll do to weld the letters together. And the one that I want is grayed out. Let's try this for now. I'm gonna hold off grouping them. They're no longer letters, they're objects. So I can manipulate these. I know I want to stretch that the top of the F over. Really, I kind of want it to come right to it. This portion, I'll stretch up and make sure that it covers it. Make sure that it touches. I don't see any other parts that'll give me trouble. And could try again to weld here. Yeah, I think that did it. The reason for welding it is because when I create the outline stitches to make the applique, I don't want the outline stitches to come in here. I want it to go around the outside. So that's the reason for that. Now, with this design, I also want to add a tail, a swooping tail that comes down, and I intend to put a first name in that tail after the applique is done. I had created several different sizes of tails, and of course they were done in an earlier software, so let's go find them. Because that G drops down, I'm going to need kind of a deeper swirl. This one may work out. Just have to give it a try. And I meant to insert it, so I'll copy it. I'll come back to my weld and paste it in. That's really large, isn't it? So let's look at it and take, I want it proportion for now. Let's take this down to 150. And we know that's too small. So I may end up creating a new one to fit this particular letter. Now, with these pieces, and that still looks like it's not combined well, doesn't it? Oh, I see why, for one thing. I don't know why it reorders them. that's more what I want. I'm going to end up with about 6mm, which may be fine, but I'm going to lower that just slightly. The dot on the eye. Okay. Let's try again to weld them. Perhaps they need to be closer together. Oh, well, that's what it is. So let's back that one to where it's overlapping. This way we'll get a better weld, hopefully. I got a little carried away with that. So I'm looking at the negative spaces as well as the lettering to get these in position. Select all, and let's try again to weld. That's going to do what I want, so that I don't have these separations where when I start my applique outlining that it separates each one. I do need them truly all together. And I'm going to keep sorting this like I want it. Okay, so I want a tail that comes from here and swoops under it, and this one's, well, I don't know, it's not going great. We could tilt it and we could mess with it, but I think we're going to be better off just start from scratch. So let's take this one, touch H, and let's reshape this. That gives me a lead in. And I'm going to choose the graphic to sew a shape, design a shape, and the tail kind of swoops up. I want it to come close to touching. I'll reshape that. Okay. It's not looking so hot yet, but stay with it. I've got an extra node in here is why they did that. Go to H. Let's remove that one. That's going to blend better. Okay, touching 0 on my keyboard to zoom out. Escape to move this in closer. Control Z gets me out of that mess. Touching 0 brings me back center. I want it to shorten. Let's try it this way. And let's begin the reshaping. It's not bad. This one is too much of a curve. Oh, I like that. Okay. That's not too bad. We can do some work here. So I'm going to zoom in. Let's try to clean this up a little bit. Might touch the space bar and turn that to a straight stitch. It was a curve. Okay, let's go to the red and reshape it now. Well, it's really strange, no wonder. Delete, delete. Okay, I can deal with that. The tail we're going to bring in a little closer. And I'm going to be blending these once I get it situated. 0. I kind of like this shape. I think I want this to come out further though. And that's my middle. Let's see if it throws the whole thing off. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, this one can go away if we don't need it. I'm pretty pleased with that. Let's change this now to a tatami stitch. Go ahead and make it red. Okay. Let's select everything, and once again, let's weld the entire thing together. So I want to save this as my step 2. I'm trying to set up a tutorial that will help me remember what steps I take. File, save as, weld step 2. It's actually 2 and 3, but it'll get me close. Okay. Now from here, I want to set the stitch direction. Let's go ahead and group them and see if we can get a better result. Touching H to reshape. I want about a 60. Now I want tatami. I don't want any underlay. So I'm going to turn off the underlay. Fill, tatami, the spacing, perhaps a 3, length of 4. And so this gives me a nice even feel, and this didn't join, so I'm going to back up. And we'll try the tatami again. There we go. I didn't want this line going here or going here. And the reason it's got some chopped off places, offset fraction, probably because I've got my stitch length so long. Let's go to 3. That didn't fix it. But it's going to be hidden when I do the next step anyway. File, save as, step step 3. So this is showing me that I've set my stitch direction and my my fill. So I'll take the whole thing, and it looks like it's already grouped. That's great. And now I want to do an outline that is 6 millimeters wide, and I just want it to be a run stitch. I'm taking the long method in Applique because I have more control. So we'll say OK. And I'm going to eliminate this. That's up to you if you leave it in or not. But it's such a small space, it's not worth cutting out. I know I don't want this one. And I don't want that. I want to set the length to 3. This is a placement stitch. Then I'll duplicate it, change the color. Now it's going to tack down the fabric. Going to do another offset, and this one I want to be 1 millimeter in, so I'll do -1, and it's another run stitch. This is kind of a securing stitch that's going to run along, this is where you cut. This is going to run just inside. Tack down, forgive me, placement, tack down. That was this one. It's in the same place as placement. And then a security stitch. Let's give it another color. Maybe a blue. It's just going to help if you've cut too close at times. It's going to give you a little bit of security so that your stitches don't pull away from the fabric. Okay, I'm going back to my original one. The original, these two are the same in the same place. And I'll duplicate that. Give it another color. And this time, it's an outline. I want it to be a satin. Okay, let's call this Save As Step 4. Okay, now these 4 pieces need to move up in the design. You're going to set down your background applique first, and then it's going to sew the fill stitch, but I want to finish it off with a satin stitch. So I'll select these 3 pieces and duplicate them. No, forgive me, I don't want to do that. Let's go back. Take that off. We'll take these 3. What I need is an outline stitch, and I need it to be in the same placement as the outline, and I want it to be a column C. And seeing that covered up those places. Now, one thing I failed to do was have it do the inside, so let's back up. I'll show you how to set that. So this one, I want to do an outline, but I want to create the offsets for the holes. I just need 1. Spacing, I want it to be right on the edge, and we'll say OK. And seeing that did the insides nicely. Now keep in mind that all of this is going to be applique, so you're going to have another color that's sitting back here underneath it. And let's call this one Save as. Step 5. By leaving those as steps, I can copy and paste the settings into a new file, and it'll just make it that much quicker. Now, there's a few things that I think I'd like to clean up, but I may talk myself out of it. Let's look at this as this type of cap. Perhaps move it over slightly, making sure that it's still covering. Let's make it shorter. I'm liking that better. Okay. I can live with the E. The G is a little funny, so I'm going to touch H and see what I can do there. Let's zoom in. What caps do I have? Perhaps this one. It's personal preference. What you want to see happen. I don't need that one, so I'll delete him. I mainly want to be sure that my edges are covered, and they are, just for looks. Okay, let's zoom out, escape, and we've created that applique with a tail. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as it is. Okay, so that's our step 5. Now, to add a first name in this, I'll select the letter, the lettering tool, create text, perhaps here. I want another color for this. Let's do purple. And that's kind of fun. Bounty. Let's take it larger though. So my height, I think 25 is what I've been doing in these. That's a little high. But we can also free line. Oh, I want any shape is what I want, so that I can go in here and curve these. I'm touching the right click to get a curve and select the item. Ooh, Control Z. Select this item. Control Z. Just this item. Let's try again. Slide it into place. Touching H again to reshape this. You can bring the ends down, bring them up. I think if you hit Control, it gives you a true even circle, but I don't need that much. Somewhere in there. And let's take this down smaller. Let's look at 20. Kind of following the contour. So you can see you can get quite long names here also. Let's take it back this way. So any style of font can be used. Oh, that's going to work out. Okay, and of course any colors that you want to use. But that's how to create an applique from a welded name. Thanks for watching.